Is it weird that my 35-year-old friend is waiting for a 17-year-old girl to turn 18 so he can ask her out? Immediately, yes. Before we even get into this, that is very weird. Very, very weird. My longtime friend had recently told me that he's waiting for his 17-year-old coworker to turn 18 because he wants to ask her out. I was immediately grossed out and told him that that was predatory behavior, and he laughed and he said, "A true gentleman waits until they're 18. He genuinely sees nothing weird or wrong with this. He asked for her number, and she said that when she turns 18, she will give it to him. I'm stuck on the fact that he asked the 17-year-old for their number anyway. What if she wouldn't have declined? He also went to her Facebook and saved pictures of her to his phone to send to us. I also found out that a girl that he previously talked to for a few years was freshly 18, and I don't know, bruh. This all grosses me out, and I don't want to be his friend anymore, but I also don't know if I'm overreacting." Meanwhile, in r/teenagers, there's a 17-year-old girl talking about some creepy guy twice her age asking her out. It's r/teenagers, so the 35-year-old is probably in there too. I'm 33 and view 18-year-olds as children. I don't see how you could possibly have romantic interest in someone who's fresh out of high school at this age. Yeah, your friend is a creep, and I'd stop being friends with him. I'm 16 going on 17, and that's creepy as hell. If my 35-year-old coworker did that to me, I'd cuss him out. I also message his mother through Facebook or something and tell her how disgusting her son is. Since, you know, he's not much different than a 17-year-old, I guess. But maybe I'm just saying all this because I'm a teenager, and teenagers are dumb because they're not fully mentally developed. Just because it's illegal does not make it morally right. Correct. There's a lot of non-thinkers who can't separate the two, though. Like, what do they even have in common? This is definitely weird. Yeah, that is extremely weird and predatory. Does anyone else stay up at night because they feel if they go to sleep, then they haven't gotten enough free time at home? I'm a high school student, just a freshman, and sometimes I feel that if I go to sleep early, then I'll just be like, well, this day just felt like school. Barely any time at home. Sometimes I just stay up so I actually feel more at home and not always have that feeling of just school, school, school. Does anyone else feel this way? Maybe with work as well? Nearly every night. I don't want life to just consist of work, eating, and sleeping. Also, the sooner I go to sleep, the sooner time work arrives again. Absolutely. Still trying to figure out how we're supposed to fit a healthy 8 to 10 hours of sleep into the 4 to 5 hours of time left for sleep after a full day of work, a couple hours of family time, and some me time. Something has to give, and I already don't spend enough time on my family or myself, so I can't cut those. I like staying up until morning. In the summer, I'd play video games from noon to 5 or 6 a.m. regularly. I eventually realized that part of the reason I like the night is because it's quiet. Being around people gives me anxiety, even family, and I can truly never relax until I am alone. No one expects anything of you at 2 in the morning. You are weightless. Yes. After work, it's pick up the house while wife cooks, eat, clean, kitchen, get kids ready for bed, put them to bed. It's then 8 o'clock, and I haven't sat down all day. I stay up late, otherwise it feels like a rinse and repeat day in and day out. Moms do this. Finally, when everyone goes to sleep, we finally have some time for ourselves. Does anybody else hate how the internet now feels like 7 major websites which are all interconnected, whereas it used to feel like a vast place with something new around every corner? Me too, lad. I think it's mainly because most websites now are aggregators, meaning they don't exclusively create their own content in their own website, letting people create their content on their website. As the website gets bigger, people who want to get big on the internet post on the bigger website, not posting on their own website, leading to what we have today. If you quit social media and basically any phone app, it still sort of feels that way. Between Board.com and Ogrish, there were so many places to end up. Now it's almost like a cable service with all the channels owned by 3 to 4 corporations. We knew it was going to happen. There have been countless sci-fi stories about corporate dystopias, and we let it happen anyway. Yeah, it feels so isolated now. I don't even remember what it was like to explore on the web. Yeah, it really feels like it was a lifetime ago, despite being relatively recent in the grand scheme of things. This may come across as snobbish, but that's just what happens once something becomes wildly used and or popular. Television, gaming, and even film has kind of gone that path as well. Formulaic, samey garbage meant to appeal to the common denominator. Of course, variation does exist, you just gotta search harder. Is it normal to read a few pages of a book and then suddenly realize that you have no idea what's going on in the plot because you've been reading the words but not internalizing their meaning? I always end up reading the same thing over and over. This is why I can't do audiobooks. I'll listen for about half an hour before I realize I haven't heard a word. At least with books, I can flip back and look through the pages. Edit. I'm going to try speeding up the audiobooks and see if that helps. I really think that might be why my brain loses interest. Lol, I get this all the time. Usually that's my cue to turn my brain off and stare at nothing for 5 minutes. I have ADHD and have struggled with this my whole life. If it's a fiction book that I'm into, it doesn't happen as much, but any required reading in school or textbooks were basically Sisyphean task for me. Yes, I find it frustrating when I'm wanting to read and my brain is just skipping all over the place. If I keep doing it, I start to read out loud and that seems to focus my concentration. Try blocking out the page with a piece of paper so you're only able to focus on the line you're reading. In addition to ADHD or boredom, this can be caused by skipping over unknown words. Research has shown that this can derail the brain and cause you to end up reading the same thing over and over. Once I vowed to look look up words I didn't know, this problem pretty much went away for me. I'm not fluent in English, and I never saw the word derail, so my brain just did the thing that you described, lol. It's like watching a TV show, but your mind is elsewhere. You hear the words, but don't know the plot. What's the name of my food? I want to eat them, but forgot how they were called and can't ask anyone since I'm alone. Shrimp, it's a poor baby shrimp. I'm curious, how would you have described it to the waiter? With the drawing, shrimp? This sort of stuff happens to me way too often. I spent 20 minutes the other day trying to figure out the name of Tom Cruise. You know, the extremely famous actor in Mission Impossible, who is the spokesperson of the Church of Scientology and has a tooth directly in the middle of his mouth. I could remember that, but not his name. Crawfish? It were shrimps, but thanks. Why do people wear shoes in the house? Most of my American friends and coworkers wear shoes in the house. It's so gross. I'm Japanese and I always cringe when I see this. Edit. I have learned today that people don't like it when I ask why they do things. I've had multiple people message me telling me to f*** off and leave their country alone. Apologies if I worded it aggressively or something. I was really just genuinely curious. I think that this is more common in places where they don't get much snow or rain, like California. In Canada, we always take off our shoes so as not to track in dirt or mud around the house. It's not a hard cultural rule like it is in Japan, but more of a practical necessity. It's also common to have a different pair of shoes in the office than the boots that you are wearing around walking outside. Not all Americans do this. I think depends on the region. I'm American and I don't wear shoes in the house, and neither do the people I know, but it's not so much a strict rule like it is in Japan. If I was just quickly running inside to get something, I probably wouldn't remove my shoes. For my job, I visit 10 to 15 houses 6 days a week. I carry a reusable pair of slip-on booties because we aren't allowed to take our shoes off. They're safety equipment. But when I get to a house, I look for clues, glances at my shoes, a pile of shoes by the door, and just slip them on if I think they want me to. When it's messy outside, I'll put them on at every house. I also keep an eye out for prayer rooms and cover my feet before entering those. Usually the only time I wear shoes inside is if I'm just coming home for a short bit and heading right back out, and it's just easier to leave them on. I don't know how to explain it, but I need them to feel like I'm ready to get stuff done. I can laze around all day with no shoes, but if I'm going to be zipping around the house, picking up and putting things away, I need to have shoes on. And a bra. I have flat feet. I need the arch support or my feet kill. I've always had pets going in and out of the house. My shoes don't bring in anything that their feet don't. It's just a little bit of dust and dirt, almost imperceptible if you sweep the floors regularly. I also personally, the narrator, do not wear shoes when I'm inside the house, like anywhere. I think it's weird. Like, I mean, I don't even like wearing socks in the house. I don't know. It's just strange. Anybody else feel super cringy with taking selfies and therefore take none? I don't know what it is, but even when I have tried taking a selfie by myself, completely alone, I feel so cringe. I couldn't imagine taking a selfie with other people around. What kind of mindset are people putting themselves in when they take selfies? I feel too vain when I take selfies, then end up having like no pictures of myself for my mom. OMG, yes, I'm the same. My homie. I tried it once. Not for me. I always try to hide that I'm doing it, if I do it at all. Haha. The shame. It burns. All the time. I never see my pics and think, hey, I look good in this one. So I assume other people see me the same way, and I don't care to have other people see my flawed face. I used to feel that way, but then saw people doing duck lips, and I tried, and each time I ended up laughing. That ended up turning out to produce pictures of me happy and smiling, and I started to enjoy seeing those moments. I typically hate selfies, but started taking them here and there since the stay-at-home thing started. I take them when I actually look like crap, I take them when I think I look like crap, and I take them when I think I'm having a good day. I erase 99% of them almost immediately. Some that I've kept are MySpace angled with makeup and smooth hair. Some are in harsh light and some are after sweaty yard work. I still don't love pictures of myself, but it's already been cool to see the changes in my hair. So much more gray, the stress in my face fluctuating, etc. Most of what's happened this year does not feel real, but I will have these pictures to remind me I was in it, and it changed me faster than anything in my history ever has. Why do my students call me a goat? I'm a math teacher for 8th graders at the school I teach at. Throughout this whole past school year, there was a running joke where the students would call me the goat, and I would respond back each time that they are the goats, and they would all laugh. It was pretty funny to be honest, and I never gave it much thought, but I realized that I have been partaking in a joke that I never actually got. I had a good connection with them, and they are all really good kids, so I don't really think that they were making fun of me. Can someone, maybe an 8th grader, explain this joke to me? How would you respond if someone calls you a goat? It means greatest of all time. Oh wow, my day has been made. Thank you. Yeah, it means they like you a whole lot. A whole lot. Haha, cute. As a teacher of high school freshmen, if someone says something that I've never heard, I always threaten to Urban Dictionary it in front of them, and someone will always tell me what it means, and giggle fits ensue. It's always a good time. That's pretty funny. I didn't even know about Urban Dictionary until people mentioned it in here. That Urban Dictionary is a lifesaver. Glad to see a fellow teacher in the comments. It's so cute that you didn't realize they were calling you the greatest of all time the whole year, and you were calling them the same back. So wholesome. You are the Michael Jordan of math teachers. It's a good thing. This is nice. When I was in middle school, some kids called my band teacher Chivo, which means goat in Spanish. But it was more so because he never trimmed his nose hairs and had long hair. Terrible children. GOAT is a term coined by the 80s and 90s rapper LL Cool J, which is an acronym for Greatest of All Time. It was popularized by his 8th studio album titled GOAT, and he credits Muhammad Ali for the origin, according to an interview in 2016 with Rolling Stone. Its contemporary use is mostly in instances of a person being a holistically positive and empowering individual, and has become more and more popular in recent years. This is the most karma farming stuff I've ever seen. It's the perfect storm. The AI algorithm that's crafting posts like this is nearing perfection. Yes, I'm calling BS. They never Googled it? Really? Admitted the photo isn't theirs at the bottom of the post. 5-day-old account. First post is about Ethereum liquidity. You're telling me that they're dabbling that hard in crypto but never encountered the word goat on the internet? Get out of here. Today I told my mom that I have no internal monologue and she stared at me like I have 3 heads. Is having one common? I sincerely thought it was a fictional concept that Dexter made up. It shocks me beyond belief to know that people may have one. How do you do it? I can't imagine doing that. Edit. Yes, guys, I get it. I'm an NPC. I'm so confused by this thread. My mind's racing. What is a thought without an inner voice? Wait, so do you never have an internal monologue? Like, for example, when you were writing this post, were you not saying in your mind what you wanted to write and maybe mulling it over a bit in your head? Like, no, I should phrase it this way, etc. I would consider it a miracle if I ever had a single moment where just one thought was happening. It's like a beehive up in here. I don't know. My head never shuts up. I can tell you right now, I spend more time in my head than in any other place. Conversations, etc. I live in my head. Me and my brain are best friends. Me too. I think I developed my inner monologue a lot on those lonely days in school. Internal monologues are common. Basically, in the past few years, going, wait, do other people actually think differently than I do? Has become more common, with people who can and can't make visual pictures in their mind being another point of discussion. Wait, people can't make visual pictures in their mind? Do you ever get songs stuck in your head? Actually, that's probably the closest thing I have to one. Currently got a couple songs from that new Lil Wayne album in my head. I read stuff in my head too, of course. Me neither. I always thought it was a fictional concept used in movies. This thread made me realize it isn't. Does anyone go through a vicious loop of being productive and having a great routine for a few days to living like an absolute slob for the next few? Rinse and repeat? For me, I'll live like a slob for 2 days, feel absolutely poop at the end of it, clean up my act, hygiene, surroundings, routine, and productivity-wise. I do it for a week before eventually going back to the slob thing. Loop this again, and this has been my struggle for so many years now. Just wanted to know if anyone goes through this and how they deal with it. Yes, and I found it better to forgive myself for being unproductive some days. Being hard on myself only makes me more likely to extend the unproductive phase. Also, unpopular opinion, but maybe we are allowed to not be productive every now and then. There's no moral failing there. I try not to beat myself up if I fall back into being unproductive, as that causes me to feel bad about myself and prolongs the number of days I feel depressed. I just let it run its course. I think it comes with the depression. It's not a bug, it's a feature. You are definitely not alone. I find I do so good for a week or so and then let something slip like laundry and it's just a slide from there. For me personally, it is partially due to depression and small things that trigger me into this who cares slob life I get into. Have I found any way to fight it? No, sorry, but I just wanted you to know you're not alone. Same goes for me work-wise. I have a high-demanding IT tech lead job. I kick ass for a week and then I crash for a few days, get stressed and worried, and clean up my act, and kick ass again for a while, and then crash again. Mine's the reverse of yours. I'm a lazy POS for a week plus, and then I'm on better behavior and a more positive mental health state for 2 to 3 days. I always promise myself I'll keep it up and take care of myself, but it's a cycle. Not entirely sure how to change it. I'm always saying I need more hobbies, I need a routine, I need to meal prep. I know how to be healthy, but my mental state doesn't often allot for it. Thus the cycle. How is Reddit so popular, yet everyone I ask either doesn't use it or has never even heard of it? I've only met one person that uses it. My cousin asked me once, "Do you use Reddit?" I had just started to use Reddit at the time. I was like, "How do you know?" She was like, "You just seem like the type of person who would." Over time, I wonder what she meant by that. Sometimes I think she was being charitable. Other times, I think she was not. I tell my mom about Reddit because she wants to know where I find all the funny memes and pictures I send her. She'll tell me occasionally to post something to show my internet friends, which is sadly wholesome because I have no internet friends anymore, but she thinks I'm friends with everyone on Reddit. Or that I'm on here so much because I'm popular or something. An old friend introduced me to Reddit to get me off of EmKay, and since we don't speak anymore, my mom is the only one who knows I'm on here. Edit. Guys, my mom thinks you guys are so nice. My mom approves of you all. It's kind of like Fight Club. What's the first rule of Fight Club? Dunno, I forgot. Hey, want to join this cool new club I'm in? My friends and I all use Reddit, but don't know each other's usernames. We will occasionally talk about what's on subreddits, but I feel it's better to have our own private accounts so we can use it freely without the judgment of others. I was at school the other day using Reddit on the school computers, and my friend looked at me on Reddit, and he is amazed. He turns to my other friend, and he's like, yo, check it out, this guy's on Reddit. Turns out he thought that Reddit was part of the dark web. I'm a 40-year-old suburban mom. No one in my circles has even heard of it. My 30-year-old cousin said, oh yeah, I've heard about it, but what is it exactly? Are men really that much stronger than women? I'm a man, and recently I've been seeing a post about women being weaker than men exponentially. This post is the one that surprised me a lot. It made it sound like the average guy is much stronger than the strongest woman. This post had comments saying that her deadlift isn't super heavy. I do lift weights and can deadlift over her weight, but I thought it was just because she doesn't work out much. Personally, I've never been in a situation where I've had to fight a woman or pin one down, so I don't know. I just thought women were slightly less strong, if not equal, but I've been seeing things that say otherwise. I know some people have been acting like OP is silly for asking, but I don't think every man actually understands. I remember trying to fight a guy off when I was a teenager, and we were the same age and the situation got uncomfortable. I kept pushing him and trying to pull myself away, and I don't think he even understood that I was doing everything I could to get away. I've also heard of trials where it's argued that the woman didn't fight hard enough. But as hard as you can might not even be hard enough to notice with a man with tunnel vision. We need to have these conversations because it's dangerous to pretend we all know, or even worse, that we're equally matched. This post is really opening my eyes to how many people did not grow up with a sibling of the opposite sex. Hey everybody, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you get notified every time this channel uploads. Again, thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.